Hi, and welcome to another quick tutorial. This time we're going to continue down the path of working with the ArcGIS API for Python, and we're going to look about how to add items to ArcGIS Enterprise or ArcGIS Online. We're going to start by setting up our environment. We're going to import, in this case, we're going to import OS, and then we're going to do from arcgis.gis import GIS. Now that that's imported, we can go ahead and connect it to our online organization where I'm going to be doing my work. I'm going to do GIS equals GIS and pass in my profile name. I'm now connected. For this tutorial, we're going to use data from the New York City Open Data site. And this is going to be a list of the city planning facilities database. And there's about 35,000 plus public and private facilities and program sites that are licensed through the city, state, or federal agencies within New York. To download the data, we're going to import requests and we're going to use temp files. We're going to go ahead, make a get call, pull down the data, store it to a temp directory, take this information that's zipped, and write it out. So let's go ahead and do that. Once it completes, we're going to have a new item saved to disk. Now that we have our test data, let's actually talk about what we can have as items on ArcGIS Online and Enterprise. So with ArcGIS Online Enterprise, you can have multiple types of items. You can have geo packages, file geo databases, but file geo databases have to be zipped up. Same with shape files. You can have CSV files, the Excel spreadsheets, XLS, and XLSX, ArcGIS Pro packages, Word, PowerPoint, and a whole host of other ones. And I included a link to all the different types of items that you're allowed to upload and are supported on Enterprise and ArcGIS Online, and you can go and take a look at that yourself later. So to handle multiple files, I mentioned it before, but I just want to renote it. If you have a shapefile or a file geodatabase as your spatial data and you want to put it on your enterprise, you have to zip it beforehand. So you have to put it in the zip compression format to upload it. So since we've downloaded our data and completed successfully, now we're ready to start our tutorial. So let's put it on ArcGIS Online. To do this, we're going to have to access something off our GIS object called the Content Manager, and this would come in the form of gis.content. And we're going to be able to add our items that way by calling an add method. And the add method is going to require three parts: a title, type, and tag at minimum. And beyond that, there's a whole host of other property supports. Once again, I'm not going to dive into them because they're very specific to certain items of what you can add. So let's go ahead and add our downloaded item. I'm going to pull in the description, and this is the metadata that was provided by the Open Data site. I just copied and pasted it in here, and I'm going to include that with my item. So I said at minimum you have to have title, type, and tags, but one of the other properties we can have is the description, and this will describe our data. Because it's really long, I just broke it out into shorter lengths, and I made it a single string. Okay, so let's declare a dictionary, and we're going to call it item properties. I'm going to call it title, and then say my first item is the title name. And provide the type, and it's a shape file as a zip file. Then I'm going to give it some tags, and what tags are going to allow it to do is going to allow people to find this information if we share it out publicly, or people within your organization to find it as well. So I have New York City, facilities, other stuff, doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to pass in this description that we had above in the description property. So let's first run our description. So that's loaded in the variable description, and item properties, we created our dictionary. So we're going to take our GIS object, we're going to do .content, and then call the add method. We're going to pass in our item properties, and then for data, we're going to pass in the path to our zip file that we've downloaded locally. Let's go ahead and run that. It'll take a few moments to upload because it's a fairly large item. And then we're going to run item. And what we get back here is a nice rich representation of our item. We have the default thumbnail, but we could go back and update this, the owner's name, the type of item, a link to that item if I want to click on it, when it was last modified. Now we've added our first item. Congratulations, celebrate your success.